This question is asking us about how the current in a filament lamp varies with a potential difference. Now, you could be asked this question about not just a lamp, you could be asked about a resistor or fixed resistor or a diode. Okay, this question is about a lamp, and handily it gives us the graph. So that should start jogging your memory into what practical this is all about. Now, your first clue is that we've got current and we've got potential difference. So in our diagram, we do need to draw somewhere a voltmeter and an ammeter. Okay, and obviously it's a bulb or a lamp, so we need to draw that symbol as well. So how do these things come together? Well, first things first, obviously we need a power supply to the circuit, so we need a cell or something similar. We are going to need a lamp, and I'm going to draw in an ammeter on this side of the circuit, around about here. The ammeter can be anywhere. Okay, next thing is the voltmeter. Now, voltmeter needs to go across either side of the lamp. That's because it measures the potential difference, so the energy the electrons have before versus after the lamp. And the last thing is the bit that people will often forget, and I'll comment on why we use this later. This component here is a variable resistor. Okay, you need to have one of those in the circuit to be able to change the current to different levels. Let's move on to the method and let's figure out how we can get full marks on this question. Now, you don't need to say things like set up the circuit as shown. It's not a bad thing to say, but just waste space, doesn't get any marks. So just dive straight in and say, what are we measuring? So we're going to talk about what we're using the ammeter and the voltmeter for. So we're going to measure the current using the ammeter, and you're going to measure the PD or the voltage using the voltmeter. That gets us a nice easy mark straight away, just proving to the examiner you know what you're talking about. Okay, now that's great. However, if you look at the graph, it's not just one value they've got. Each cross represents a different value. So how are we going to get those values? Well, that's what the variable resistor does. Okay, a variable resistor allows us to alter the current. It affects the resistance, but in turn then affects the current. So you're going to change the resistance in the circuit using the variable resistor, and then you're going to do basically step one again. Okay, so change the resistance in the circuit and then measure the new current and PD. Now, you don't need to say what you're going to measure them with again because you've already said it once, so you could say it another time if you wanted to, and repeat for 1 volt, 2 volts, 3 volts, 4 volts, 5 volts, and 6 volts. Okay, so between 1 volt and 6 volts. Now, you might notice that this diagram is a bit of a funny one, this graph, sorry, not diagram, because it's got some negative values. So how do we get negative values in the circuit? That's all to do with this cell. You've currently got the positive end there and the negative end there. If I was to reverse them, the readings on the voltmeter and the ammeter are negative. Okay, so then you could say reverse or flip the connections on the cell and take current and PD readings again. And why are you doing that? To obtain or to get negative values. Okay, now as for the rest of the circuit, it doesn't ask us for anything else, so that's absolutely fine. Perfect 6 marker right there.